Well, that's the advantage of
Bother changing. Hi, Amy.
if you don't get dressed up. Amy's not talking to us.
I, and there's Jim. And the way he's setting this up, it looks like we didn't get any additional info from Jim Lewis.
No,
So
I didn't see anything else.
Does he know? Does Dionyse know he's muted?
he'll figure it out soon
Probably.
enough.
He's got both of them muted. He's just getting it set up, I think.
I took out my video because I'm going to eat my lunch.
Okay.
Well, then are you muted?
No,
Well, look at Amy
Well,
while
if you're eating
Jane
your
talks.
lunch, you better mute yourself.
I will. I'm not eating yet.
All right. It's always good talking to you. And Amy, yeah, Amy, you don't show that you're muted. You know,
Just not
sometimes
picking
if you
up.
go over to the microphone thing and click a different button. All right, Jim's trying to do it.
Try clicking off at Amy and then clicking back to your whatever you think the source is supposed to be.
That's not bad, especially if he could take up a little more of the screen, it would be better. But
Yeah, you need to adjust the projector.
and just get the projector a little bit closer so it takes up more of the screen. Then we'd be able to see pretty well too.
Actually, further away.
Move the table closer.
Further. Further away,
Or,
you get
you mean
the
if
bigger
you
the
get
picture
further
will be.
away? Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Thank you, Mac. That's that Lehigh education.
That's right.
You're an engineer.
It's probably more like hanging out at the AV room when I was in high school.
Boy, do you get the feeling that maybe more people are attending today, or maybe they're just maybe it's a low attendance day. I don't know.
It seems like it.
I was all set to go today. I do want to get over there. Face mask in hand or on face.
Yeah, I'm surprised we've had as many as 10, 11 members on this. I don't know.
Hey, can anyone hear me?
Yeah.
Aha!
I don't know.
Now I'll
I
mute
don't know
you.
what I did.
Yeah.
I literally
Success.
clicked out and came back in. So evidently I just rebooted.
Wait,
It's good.
good. Whatever it takes.
How's
Amy,
everyone
are you still keeping up with the Mars New Year group?
doing? No. There had a meeting. My mom got hurt a few weeks ago. So between work and going and taking care of her, it's just been crazy. But Karen went to the last meeting. Did you go to the last meeting, Chuck?
I've been joining by Zoom.
Okay, so it sounds like they're coming
Well,
up.
things are a little bit up in the air because of COVID, but I mean, it's exciting too, some of the stuff that's happening. So
That's right. That's right. I think there's a way around some of it using technology, but it'll look different just like everything else.
yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get Pine Richland more involved, and I've got a University of Harrisburg trying to get them involved as well. They're a science, STEM, tech school. That's what they focus on.
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice.
Never heard of them. Harrisburg University?
They've been around for about 15 years. If you go online and look at it, University of Harrisburg, but they've become very big in the science arena because that's all they do. It's a science, tech, STEM school. They're huge in esports. That's how I actually kind of found out
That makes sense.
about them, is because I'm teaching an esports class down at Point Park. And they're talking about doing some stuff down in Puerto Rico where I have some connections. And so it's interesting, but they may get involved with the Mars New Year too.
Nice. Nice. So they have a large online presence.
They do. Matter of fact, they actually, they're very entrepreneurial. They have a satellite operation in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And they want to go down to Puerto Rico to do some summer camps down there. They're, as I said, they're very entrepreneurial, figuring out how they can get the word out.
Cool.
Uh-oh, looks like we're
Okay,
about to
folks,
begin.
we're gonna go ahead and get started. Are you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent,
Yes.
excellent. All right, well, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could all rise, please. Oh, Max got it all together today. Super. All right, Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
United
stands,
States of America,
one
the
nation,
republic for
under
which it
God,
stands, one
indivisible,
nation, under God,
liberty and justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
Okay, folks. Well, thanks, folks. Thanks for gathering today. I have a couple of announcements before we move into our speaker. Number one, the shred event on Saturday was, I think, a huge success. All in raised about $3,000. Was anybody at the event on Saturday?
Lois and Alex. I wasn't.
Okay. Anybody online? Anybody have any firsthand feedback from the event?
Jim, you were there.
It was easy, it was fast, it was quick, and I got rid of a ton of paper. And they said that they might do it in the spring as well.
Okay. So all in great event. We had great sponsors. Again, Purvis Brothers, Electromat, Ivory Grents Group, McDonald Aberley Funeral Home, Shell House Funeral Home, Marsbank Armstrong, and Howard Insured. So they underwrote the cost of the shred, and then everything else was gravy and donation. So good event. Also, as you all remember, we purchased a 4-H hog, not a pig, but a hog. And the gentleman we bought it from, his name was Andrew Silvestri. And Andrew was very appreciative, and he wrote us a letter, and I'll just read it out real quick. Hi, my name is Andrew Silvestri. I'm 12 years old. I saw the picture of him. He looks like he's 16. He's a big kid. I'm 12 years old, and I'm currently a 7th grader at Mars Area Middle School. This is my first year with the Butler County 4-H. Thank you very much for purchasing my 4-H swine. So we got 3 terms now, three names. You know what? Tim Heim is going to figure out for the next meeting the difference between a hog, a pig, and a swine. Okay. I think we all get the general picture, right? Anyhow, he said, I really appreciate your generous monetary gift. I was very excited to have a buyer for my pig and to find out that the meat is being donated to families in need at the Lighthouse. Even though this year was different due to COVID, it was a very fun learning experience for me, and I look forward to many more years participating in the 4-H. So anyhow, we can all feel good that we were part of all that, and we've taken that hog, and it's now moving through the system. So.
So to speak.
In more ways than one, it's moving through the system. So anyhow, that's all I had for the group today. This is
Jim,
all.
I had an announcement, if you can indulge me.
Yes.
Let me see if I can share this screen. The Keystone Club asked me to announce that they're trying to form a Rotary Oct, an international Rotary Oct club for people between 18 and 30. I'm sure it'll have a big international flavor based on Keystone's international presence. But if anyone knows anybody in those age ranges that wants to get involved in Rotary Service Club, and international especially, I think it might be a good opportunity. I will email this out to the club also, but they asked me to announce it at the meeting. So if anyone's interested, I'll be sending it out, or you can contact me or Keystone.
Okay, Matt. Thank you. Any other announcements, either virtually or in the room here? Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Lord. You want to do the intro, or do you want me to? Okay. All right. So I'm going to just do a real quick intro of our speaker. I will admit, I don't know a lot about Jim Lewis and his organization. So I think we're going to learn a lot today, but Jim Lewis is with us from Hearts for Haiti Ministry. And as far as what I can see so far, it's a nonprofit humanitarian community development organization helping Haitians to become healthy, self-sufficient citizens, plus much, much more. So with that, we're delighted to have Jim Lewis with us today. He and I have kind of been working our way through this maze of virtual, hybrid presentations, so on. So we have one camera that's hopefully picking up the screen that you can see the slides, and this one will pick up Jim. And Jim, welcome, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you. And I can hold that. Like
Sure,
you
if you
were
want
holding
to,
it.
that's
That'll help
fine.
out the folks at home. Hey, oh yeah, go ahead. Thank you. How's that? Good. All right. Hey, thank you very much. I do know that swine is the most expensive. So if you're going to go for good stuff, go for swine. I represent Hearts for Haiti, and we are, like Jim said, a nonprofit that is basically a medical mission. If you fly into Port-au-Prince, which is what we do, it's down there in the lower part. And then, once you get to Port-au-Prince, then we fly up over the mountains to Pignon. And then from Pignon, we go over to Montbon-Crochu, and that's the little town that we're at, that we go to. And you have to, if you have never landed on a airstrip that is grass in a small plane like this in your life, you're missing something. So everybody's got to do that at least once in their life. Then everything gets packed into vehicles, and it takes an hour, maybe 15 minutes to go 11 and a half miles. And so that's how far we are. We're kind of out, northeastern, I tell people, northeastern corner. And this is Dr. Modlin. This is a young man. Now he's middle-aged now, but he was a young man when we first met him. And I took two other people, actually, Barb Walwick and Don Simmons, down to Montbon-Crochu. This would be back in 2003. So we're talking 17 years ago. And that's when Don Simmons met Modlin Messadal. And he was in medical school, and he talked to Don, and Don, we all came back. We were at a hospital doing painting and whatnot. And they kept contact. And Don ended up trying to help him out financially to get through medical school. He was just got to the point where he couldn't handle it. So at that time, I was pastoring the Branston and West Liberty United Methodist churches up by Slippery Rock. And he asked the church if they would help out to get him through medical school. And the church said, sure, we could do that. Long story short, took 9 years to do that. Finally got him through medical school, and really was pretty easy. And Don and I went down to his graduation in 2003. That's when I said, Modlin, what would you like us to do? He said, well, if you can come up and bring medical supplies with you, I'm going to open a clinic back in my little town where I grew up. I said, great. So that's what we did. That's what we do. We always take medical supplies. Everybody hand carries. We get it from Global Links in Pittsburgh and just left me. Global Links and a brother's brother. So if you ever can help them out, go ahead, because they do great work. We basically get it practically free for what we take down here. So everybody takes, just about everybody takes 2 bags, and then travel light, and we take medications down there. And Dr. Modlin started out, this is where he started out in 2013. He rented this little place, and it was basically a 24 by 24 garage. And inside that was an examination room, a dental clinic, a pharmacy, and another room, a waiting room also. So that's where we started out. It took about 3 years of going down there in March. That's when we started going, was in March. And we would just basically get down and help him out. And then eventually, about 3 years into it, he said, I need to build a granary. He had bought some property down the hill, across the creek, up the hill, on top of the next hill over. And I said, okay, that sounds like a good idea. And this is what we dedicated in about 2014, 13, 14, 16. I'll get it right yet. 2016. We dedicated this, and this basically became a granary and a storage place and a little office, so that we could start building a clinic, which was across the street. There it is there. That was the inauguration day in 2016, and we walked across the dirt road, not much of a road, but we walked across it, and we laid the ceremonial block, and that's the property now where stands a guest house and a clinic. And so from 16 for 4 years, we've been building a clinic. This is part of it. That was along the way. We don't really do much work. We basically, when we go down there in March and August, we get in their way whenever it comes to building. We just kind of stay back. Well, we did build block, one block at a time, mix of mortar and cement. You put it in a boom, and there's your one block at a time. All those blocks were made one block at a time. We helped out that way. We carried water. But basically what we do is we take money down, and then they turn that into an economic engine for the community. So instead of us going down and building, which is free, basically us doing that, they then can pay people and they build. And so that's what we've found worked best for us. We do some things, but not, we get in their way more than anything. But they tolerate us when we go. But that's the way it is. So that's how we do it there. And each time, even that, they were using that as the clinic. They moved out and they had tarps up and temporary roofs, and they started using the clinic. They've been using that clinic that basically up until just this was in August of 2019. It's looking pretty good now. They finally got a skin coat. They were getting structure in there. Windows weren't in yet, but things were coming along. And we started going in August back in 2000, about 4 years ago, 16, yeah. 16 was our first August trip. So I've been taking people down March and August twice a year. And, okay. So what we do is in August, we always have a vacation Bible school. So that's a big deal there too. He does mobile clinics. He does clinics in the clinic all day. And this was prior to the dedication. As you can see, there's no paint on the walls. It's basically just finished. But a lot of people get good health care. This is March 2020, and this year we finally dedicated it. We went down in March 10th. And if you remember March 10th, we came back March 18th, and the world was different. I talked to my wife every night when we were down there, and I'm going, really? Is it that bad? She finally got mad at me and just gave it to my daughter and said, you talk to him. Anyway, we came back, it was completely different. And obviously our August trip was canceled. But this is what the clinic looks like now. It's completely tiled and windows and paint and Hearts for Haiti, the H4, the number 4, and then H, and then ULS is Maudlin's organization down there. Center de Santé Community, it's a center for health, and it's Montgomery Crochu and Shervin. And that's really basically where we're at, Shervin, but nobody knows where that is. It's not even on the map. So that's pretty much the clinic. It's up and running. Outside is a waiting room. Inside is a waiting room. They have a pharmacy. They have there's 12 rooms in the clinic. I probably should quit calling it a clinic. It's basically a small hospital. And basically it just came about. The money was raised. It's all paid for. And now we're in kind of a phase of supporting it and keeping it running. That's where we're at now. Some of these pictures, I don't know that comes out very well. Yeah, it didn't come out very well. But here's a little baby boy, a little baby girl, I can't remember which one, had a little, looked like a softball on its stomach. And I just put these in there because that's really what we do. The clinic is a building, but it comes down to working with people. This young man, you probably can't see it very well on the screen, but his leg is, well, they're black already, but they're black. It was black. It was unhealthy black from there down to his foot. We see all kinds of things down there. I have taken one doctor, taken a couple nurses, and the doctor that went, Dr. Maychek from Butler, he was able to actually get an interpreter, and he did. And he saw this, and then he realized, whoa, I've never seen anything like this. So the care is what we can do down there as best as we can. Sometimes we get things that are not in Dr. Maudlin's realm, and we send them to the hospital. So that's basically round up some money and ship the person off. Some people that they get helped, they were doing surgeries when we left down there. Hydrocil, if you know what that is. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but I know that there was stuff down here on men that they were taking care of. Circumcisions, so they're using it like a hospital. It's more than a clinic. We do also other things. We feed the poorest of the poor. We're now up to about 100 people that we buy rice and beans, oil, matches, soap. And at the end of our 9 days that we're down there, all the poorest of the poor show up, and we hand them out enough food, probably for them 2 weeks, but it's not much. It's like a 2-gallon Ziploc bag of rice, some beans, a Coke bottle filled with oil, some matches, and some soap. It doesn't take much for a Haitian to live, but what we do then. Now we're going out into the country. We probably pretty much walk about 11 miles, 10, 11 miles, and we visit 20 people that are worse off, that they can't even get in. So we take that to them. And I met this young lady right here. You can see she's in a wheelchair up in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere to begin with, but then we hike goat paths to get even farther out. And when we were there, before we took the wheelchair, it was in March, and her mother asked, could you get me a wheelchair for my daughter? Her feet were inward and crippled, and she just could not get up. I looked around and I thought, oh my God, how on earth would I get a wheelchair up here? I came back, Global Links. I started going down to see the guy down there, and I said, you know what, I got this girl down there, and I started thinking, maybe we can. And finally in August, I had gotten a group together, people that I had only met a couple times, and we got a wheelchair. We packed the Sunday before leaving on a Tuesday, got everything packed up, and I'm counting packs, counting bags, and I'm going, okay. Oh, darn, I've got a wheelchair left over. That's gonna cost us more than I wanna pay for the third bag. And a young lady that goes to my church said, hey, you know what? Celeste is going. She's got a prosthetic leg. I did not know that. I said, well, she goes, I think she could take that wheelchair as hers. I said, I don't know her that well. Can you call her? She said, sure, I'll call her. She called her up and said, hey, Celeste, we got this wheelchair left over. It's going to really cost us. Could you just ride in it and take it? And she goes, sure, I'd love to do that. Sure enough, she was in a wheelchair the whole way down there, and we got down there, and she made the hike up over the hills, and she met the girl, and finally her mother came back and got the wheelchair, put it on her head, and off she went, and that wheelchair made it. I just say that because I've seen that so many times, how God has just, things are in place before I know they're in place. And he just does it. Here's Vacation Bible School. The kids, we're up to about 375 kids. when we do Vacation Bible School in August. That's part of our ministry. And we feed them. That's a big deal. We feed them, and there's beans, rice, and usually they butcher a hog or a swine.
I'll let you know next week.
Whichever you would like, but they do that. They do beans, rice, and every day they feed them. So for 3 days, and you've got little kids who show up like this, and they're bringing their littler siblings, and it's just kind of heartbreaking. But there they are, and they get crafts, and they get to sing. And there's a mom, that's Linda Geyser, who held this little baby so that her sibling could make a craft. So it's amazing how kids take care of kids down there. This is the beans. We buy the rice, we buy the beans, separate it up. And here's a picture of some of the poorest of the poor with everybody's no shoes hardly. And it's sad, but God bless them. They just keep going. We do have a children's ministry, and it is up here. Folks will kind of adopt a kid, keep them in school, make sure they get enough food and things like that. So it's a monthly, kind of like, I was going to say compassion, but that's not right. Is that right? Compassion? Who is it? Somebody does that already, but we're doing it too, because you can go visit them if you'd like and take a trip. We do mobile clinics when we're down there. They'll do at least 2, maybe 3 mobile clinics, go to different communities out in the country. And there's your last group. That's the little place we fly out of, fly in and fly out. And the only reason I put this in here is this is a little airport, not very big, but you don't notice it on there, but there's a sign right here that goes up. I'll show you what's on that sign. I do that for you guys. There you go. You're down there. So there you go. Any questions? I did it.
What did it cost to build the clinic hospital?
We ended up putting in probably about $29,000. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. That was property, that was everything. Now, we don't have a well. We do have money down there to do a well, but that's pretty much, it's there. It's functioning. Yeah. Now it needs some small things to be done to it. We're trying to get a load to go into a container of stuff, like more beds, things like that. But we haven't gotten around to that yet. Anybody else?
So what's the original connection for you
To get there? I was in Lebanon, which is just outside of Port-au-Prince, at a hospital when I was in Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. And I met a doctor who was finishing up his language at that hospital. He was going to Mamba and Crochu to be the director. And he invited all us seminary students. He said, hey, when you get back down you get out and you get to your church, come on up and visit me. And I did that next year. And that's how I got up. Yeah. Anybody else?
What's your biggest need right now?
Financial. Yeah, it'd be financial. We're in that phase now. We're trying to figure out how to fundraise for longevity. And we're trying to get our 501c3 so that we're kind of separate from the churches, because eventually I'm going to retire and be out of the churches. We kind of want Hearts for Haiti to be its own entity. And so really to fundraising, we're not real, we don't know about fundraising, how to do it. And financial. Right now we have a scrap business, basically. Brings in about 10 grand a year. And it's just local people up our way. They give us stuff and we scrap it. And, we end up like that. But basically financial.
Do you have a website people can donate to, or you just?
Hearts for Haiti, yeah. Go to Hearts for Haiti. Yeah, there's a
email I sent out for the meeting today has the link for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Hope I didn't keep it too long.
Thank you.
Great.